You'll tell me to jump out, won't you, if anything happens?
Oh, yeah. Well, if you see me getting out, you can assume that you're to follow. Right?
I've been there and seen it. I've been up and down. And I've been trying for some time now. I can't stop your stories, and I can't stop your young hearts. Been up on the power, been down and ashamed. I'm sure I'm guilty of something now. I can't stop all your stories, and I can't stop all your young hearts.
In a moment, I'm going to be up there somersaulting and looping the loop with Gary Numan in a Harvard trainer from World War II. I have to tell you at this point that Suni was supposed to be doing this, but she chickened out, bless her. So the crew said, who else? Amanda Reddington. She knows no fear, she has no brain. So I've been on the phone all morning to my insurance company, I've written my will, and I am scared beyond the capacity of any rational thinking. This is a clobber. I'll see if I can find Gary now and put this on.
I'm back and I'm proven. I'm back and I'm strong. I've been waiting for so long now. I can't stop all your stories. I can't stop all your young hearts. I can't stop all your stories. I can't
You became very famous, very young, very quickly. How do you think that affected you?
I think it's harder. The age itself isn't that much of a problem. Although obviously the older you get, the more mature you are and able to handle things. The problem with me was I made it very quick in the career. So I hadn't learned anything. I hadn't really learned how to produce. I wasn't singing particularly well because the voice was still young. That's a problem for age, I suppose. I was very, very inexperienced on stage. I'd only ever done about a dozen little pubs. That's all before. And the next thing I know, I'm a Glasgow Apollo. That's a big jump. And it's difficult to take in the change of pressure that's involved, because I went from absolutely nowhere to being fairly much the kiddie around the world. And that's difficult because most bands have a progressive rise. You know, they get a top 50, a top 40, a top 30, top 20, and they make it up a bit. And each rise, they get more used to the workload as it increases, more used to the pressure, the public reaction, all that sort of thing. And that's very difficult to go from nowhere to the top overnight, especially being young and relatively immature about things. You know? And you have to do all your growing up and all your learning with everybody watching. And if they're not being particularly kind, that makes it increasingly difficult. And I did have a few problems there.
What do you think of the pop music scene today?
I mean, it's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It fluctuates up and down. You know, I thought the Chicken song was a bit desperate. Then again, at the same time, you had Robert Palmer, the Addicted to Love thing, which is brilliant. I think.
Apparently, there's a storyline going through that video. Have you seen it?
I've seen a new one, which is very similar. Isn't
Yeah, can't see a storyline though.
I don't care.
You just like those girls. I think that set off a million diets, that video.
I actually changed mine completely because of that, because I had some girls in mind and they weren't up to scratch.
Oh.
After that one, honestly, I went back and completely redid it and took all the girls out except one.
skin. They show no kindness, no kindness, no kindness to me. Velvet, so long.
And I think if an image, not necessarily an image even really, but a particular kind of presentation works hand in hand with the music, then it makes the whole package that much stronger. And so I just concentrate on that a bit more.
Talking of your image, you've changed it quite a lot over the past few years. Is that for your sake, because you get bored easily, or is it you just want to keep the fans interested?
It's a little bit of both, but I think these days it's probably more for the fans and me, because I find it harder and harder to find new ones anyway. So in the early days I used to do it because I wanted to change all the time and be seen to be changing all the time, always be looking different. And then as I got older I began to feel a little bit embarrassed, really, not by... I'd feel a little bit silly now, sort of dressing up like Buck Rogers or something, you know, and all the leather gear and that sort of things. I'm getting too old for that, I think, really. And so, but the fans still want you to do it because they like that side of it, guessing what the next one's going to be. So I think really these days it's more for the fans than anything.
How do you feel about clones, pneumoids?
Humanoids.
Humanoids?
Yeah, I think it's great. I don't see any problem with that at all, really. I don't think it does any harm. I think people take it too seriously, really. All it is they dress up and it's like a little uniform. So when they go out, you know, they're associated with me and they like that. I mean, I went to see a Status Quo once, and everyone there, not everyone, but a lot of people there had little waistcoats on, looked like Francis Rossi were playing imaginary guitars. And so it's all up, and they're all like 25, older than that, some of them. So it's all over the ball, but people make a lot of fuss about my lot for some reason. I really don't know why. David Bowie's had it all his career. Mark Bolan used to have it. A lot of people have it.
Your concerts are well known for being extravagant and expensive. Is this because you feel your music needs that sort of show, or because you feel the fans have paid their money, they should get a good show?
I think the second reason's the main one. If you know they put you there, we can afford it, and to me it's what it was always all about, big shows, and I've always liked that side of it. I always wanted to do it. See, when I was a kid, I used to go and see shows, and some of them were boring, and some of them were great, and they were big and impressive. And that's what I always wanted to do. I was wanting to go on stage and have the big shows and all the lights going on behind me. And I think these people that go on and have a tiny little show and say that they're in touch with the kids, they're just lying. They're just taking an awful lot of money from the very people that are supporting them anyway, and not giving them anything back. You know, and that they play clubs, and you pay £2, whatever it is, to go and see them. And then they make it and they go onto a big concert stage and start charging 6 and 7s and 8s or whatever. And the show's exactly the same. So why are you paying more money to go and see them? And so they're raking it in. And then they're saying that I'm a capitalist because I'm doing the big show. And I can't understand that because I lose a fortune touring. But it's the only way you can really sort of give anything back, I suppose.
I think another way you're also very fair is that you take bands on tour with you, support bands, and you don't charge them, unlike a lot of other big acts. Why is that?
Well, it's fairly hard to make it anyway, and going on the road can be quite difficult. And often a record company won't give the money necessary that most of the bands ask for to go on the road, and so these bands they missed a big chance. And I think support bands do a valuable job. They get the crowd warmed up for you. They're an important part of the show. And I think to charge them a fortune for it, although it's justified because they're using all your gear, your lights and your PA, and they're travelling with you and everything, I just don't like it. And it's I like helping young bands anyway. It's good.
Plans for a new single and album?
I'm just finishing off an album of my own stuff. I should be finished in about 2 or 3 weeks. That's been quite difficult this year for some reason. I've just found it a bit hard. I'm doing a single with Bill Sharp again. That's just ready now, actually. It should be mixed at the weekend.
Because that was very successful. Any plans for other collaborations like that, or just with...
No, I think I'm going to do an album with Bill.
Yeah.
And I've worked with other people before. I've worked with Mick Karn and Robert Palmer and people like that. So I do it occasionally, but there's nobody particularly that I'm busting keen to go and work with. These sort of things just happen. You bump into people every now and again, and you chat away. Like I was talking to Queen once, and they were saying that they never do sessions. I said, it's probably because you're too expensive. He said, no, I would do it for nothing. That's how I got to work with Roger Taylor and that from Queen. It was just a chance conversation somewhere. And I much prefer it when it happens like that, rather than people trying to get you together.
Why don't you ever listen? It's you I'm talking to. This time it's your decision. We're into something new. I know that I'm sinking the way you can see. Time that I was thinking of no one else but me. Oh, change your mind. Nothing ever stays the same. Change your mind. No one ever plays a game. Change your mind. Give up what you can't defend. Change your mind. Think you'll start again. Why can't you reconsider? Listen if you care. Take from me together. Reject me if you dare. Give me what I'm asking and save it all for me. Love that's everlasting is how it's meant to be. Why change your mind? Nothing ever stays the same. Change your mind. No one ever plays the game. Change your mind. Give up what you can't defend. Change your mind. Then get out and start again.
Tell me about your hair transplant.
It was all gory.
All the gory details. Was it pure vanity?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I'd have done it if I was a Lorenzo. A lot of people say, well, you got to do it because you're in the public eye, and yeah, rubbish. I'd have done it anyway, I just didn't want to not have any hair.
So,
But what they do, right, you get in there, first of all they take you to this little room and they say, where would you like it? I say, well, I want it here. And I say, okay, so they draw little dots where they're going to put it, because it's actually done that way. And what they do is they get you into this room, they lay your face down on this bed. They take a couple of minutes to tan. And then they give you some swabs, and you lay there like this with these swabs. And that's apparently to soak up the blood, but they don't tell you that.
yeah.
Ta-da! Got the gear on, got my maps, not that they're going to be much help. Got the hat. I'm going to keep the glasses on so you can't see the fear in my eyes. We're about to find Gary Numan. Here he is. Hi.
Hello.
Is this all right, this gear?
Yeah, it's fine.
Is this okay?
Yeah, no
This
trouble.
is pretty nifty, what you're wearing.
Yeah, it's all right.
Well, here we go then. Can I just ask you, how long have you been flying?
I started lessons in about 78. Didn't get the licence in, but so off and on about 8 years, really.
Right, you passed your test.
Quite a few, yeah.
Come on
One
then.
or two.
Let's go find the plane.
You flown this sort of thing before?
No, first time.
Where were you
What I
going?
was going to say to you, oh there it is over there, sorry, banging into each other this way. What I was going to say to you is, why are you flying something like this? Why not a new plane? Because it's quite old, isn't it, your
This,
Harbour
yeah, the one
trainer.
I've got here is World War II vintage. RAF actually used it during the war, which I actually quite liked. Thought of
Yeah.
that. It's nice. The reason for this sort of aeroplane, really, I've had 3 modern ones in the past, and while they're nice fun, and yeah, you get to A to B and you can learn them, you can only learn so much in terms of handling. And now, this aeroplane is a tail wheel. It's quite powerful. It's quite heavy, and so it has certain characteristics and handling problems that you don't find in modern aeroplanes.
So it's more of a challenge, I suppose.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I haven't flown a lot of types, so I can't honestly say, but I'm told that this is one of the most difficult aeroplanes to fly, and if you can fly this, then you can fly most other things after it, which was really the main reason for getting into it. Because if you're ever going to improve your skills, and I'm very interested in display flying, doing exhibitions.
You do quite a lot of that, don't you?
I do now, yeah. I've got 25 shows this year, and I had 7 last, so it's picking up nicely.
What,
The only way to learn that with this is this sort of aeroplane.
What's the things you do on your displays then?
It's 3 different kinds. The first one, I've got just a basic solo aerobatic routine, low-level aerobatic routine, which takes about 4 to 5 minutes.
We won't be doing that today, will we?
Yes.
Oh.
That's the one
Nice.
today.
Yeah.
That's the newest one. And then there's another one why, because I'm in Japanese colours, we reenact a a situation from the war, a war scenario, if you like, where I go up and I shoot something down and he has smoke, and
Amazing.
then I get shot down. So I have to. When you get to a display, you look around, you think, oh, there's some good trees, or I'll go down there. So when you do it, you pull your smoke on and you disappear down behind these trees, like here.
Yeah.
See, there's a hill over the back there.
Right.
And I always, whenever I do a display like this, I always go down behind those. And there's a few farmyards over the back, which I know about, and they know about me now.
I bet they do.
And so you disappear around the back at low level so the crowd don't see you, and you turn the smoke off and you come back up and pop in and land as unseen as possible, really. And that's that one. Then the other side of it is I'm a member of the only formation team of vintage aeroplanes in Europe, the Harvard formation team, and I'm the aerobatic singleton for that. So basically the four lads, they do their formation passes, and while they're turning a formation round, there's up to a 40-second gap, which to an audience can be a long time to wait for the next run. So I come blasting in from the opposite side, do a manoeuvre, and disappear out, and by that time the lads are coming back in again.
Death, aren't you? You've got no fear of this? I mean, because you crashed once, didn't you? Let's talk about it, Gary. Let's talk about the crash. Now.
If there's any kind of reassurance, I did have a mishap, yeah.
Tell me about
with
it.
an aeroplane, but first of all, it was a genuine engine failure. There was no pilot problem with it. And secondly, probably the most important thing, I wasn't actually flying it. It was being flown by my ex-instructor that I first learned to fly with, who now flies jets for the Arabs, so he's a highly qualified man, and really, if it hadn't been for him, we wouldn't have gone out of it, because we was low level, going under the weather, and the engine had some kind of a massive problem, and then it stopped, and he got us into this field and got us out alive, which I think was great, and it's a shame that we took so much stick for that.
The press gave us a completely different impression. What sort of thoughts went through your mind those last minutes?
It's, I can't honestly say that I was scared, because you're so busy. I think you really need time to be scared. If you're going along and you know something's not quite right, then you get really scared. But if you're going along and everything seems fine, all of a sudden it goes bang, you're so busy, you don't really have that much time to be scared. But I can remember all the senses were heightened. I can remember all the dust in the air. Everything was extremely noisy but clear. I can remember that the weirdest thing was almost being detached from it, and it's like I was looking there at me, and I was thinking, I wonder where it'll hurt first, and it's going to come here, or it's going to be there. Not in a scared way, and it sounds strange, but that's what I was thinking. And my dad, who was in the back of it, we've spoken about it, and he thought exactly the same thing. He's just wondering where it would start hurting first, in a detached, interested sort of way. And I think it's only that kind of situation that brings those things out, it's hard to understand, really.
Did it bother you going up again after that?
Yeah, it took a long time.
Did it? Did you go up straight away?
Yes, I was flying 2 days later in a different kind of aeroplane, doing all I really did was just flew just to make sure I could still do it.
This is my story. It's made such a
mean, what did you pick up first? A Biggles book or a guitar?
I can't remember. I remember when I was 4 years old, my mum and dad bought me a guitar. I can also remember at 4 years old that I was very interested in aeroplanes. I used to go to the airport with my dad and watch them. We've always lived near the airport. It may have been because I was always around them that the interest developed. I couldn't honestly say. It may also be that I do like machines, and I think aeroplanes are about the most exciting machine that there's ever been.
Because you're making quite a career of it now, aren't you? I mean, you're certainly doing well with the displays financially.
It's almost like a second career. I mean, I couldn't live on it because the money I earn from displays goes to keep the aeroplane flying.
What does it cost a year to run the plane?
About £15,000. But it does depend on what goes wrong with it. One year it's 12,000, which I was quite pleased about. This year's not looking too bad. But you just keep your fingers crossed that what goes wrong is something very simple.
You retired early too, didn't you?
Yeah, well, all I did was stop doing touring. I said, I don't want to do any more tours for a while. Well, for good. I was quite serious about that at the time. I didn't want to stop making records at all. And everyone kept saying that I was retiring. I just got fed up saying I wasn't in the end. And that was all. Well, I didn't honestly retire. I just stopped touring because it was taking me away from home a lot. I can't write when I'm touring. I did 2 world tours in 12 months, which is a hell of a lot from somebody that's only ever done the open anchor in London before. And I thought, this is dreadful. And I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't feel natural on stage. I didn't feel at ease with it. I didn't like being away from home a lot because I wasn't used to it. Very much a little homeboy, you know, from the country. And I just didn't get on with it very well. And it took me a long time. It took me 3 or 4 years to grow up and to get to like it and to get used to it and to know what's... It's very much like when you first start having sex. It's not what you thought. It's entirely different. You have to learn the pleasure, what's involved with it. And becoming famous is very, very much like that, especially if it happens quickly, like it did with me overnight. But you have to learn what there is to enjoy about it and what to avoid.
When do you plan to marry?
I don't, actually. I like the idea of it, the whole idea of being married, but I've got no plans to marry at all, really.
So you're
well,
all right,
I will,
girls,
but
you're all right.
Oh, no, I don't think it was interesting. I will, but I don't know when. I mean, I don't think I'd... It sounds like talking about a car, doesn't it? I don't think I'd change the person I've got for a new model. I can't see myself changing, but I think really I'd like to get the business sorted out and ticking along nicely, because then, as a person, it gives you less worries and so you're a little bit more stable, perhaps, not so moody and that. And I'd like to get that sort of thing out the way first and grow up a little bit more, perhaps, is what I think about it. A couple of years, maybe. pump takes over, but for now, we check this is working. You see the fuel pressure coming up and the low pressure light going out. So that's working properly.
Right.
Turn that off. Make sure the mags are turned off, because if you turn the prop over to clear the oil from it like you have to, it could fire if the mags are on, and that can take your arm off. That's quite important. Check all your other switches where you want them. And everything's fine.
What about the
That's it.
brakes?
Brakes are on. There's a parking brake there.
Okay. Because I mean, I've seen airplane.
This is another world, really.
All right.
So that's a cockpit check.
You are distraction, like pictures on the wall. I don't like guys. You are attraction, it gets to be routine. You're up, I am down. She's got clothes, she's got clothes, she's got clothes. But my back, she knows. We're dreams in cold storage. We get down the night away. You say you love me, maybe you don't. The patience I can't tell. I don't believe you. Yes, that's straight. Just like you've been up out. Here on the ground, on the floor, screaming nothing at all. Here on the ground, like some fool looking down on you all. Until I I'm not sure.
Oh, you've got a radio as well. Music as well, yeah?
No, that's a radio.
What is it then?
It's called a transponder.
Yeah.
What it is, you wouldn't have found it in World War II. It's a relatively modern invention. What it does is you get a 4-digit number from the ground. It's called a squawk. 7241 is on at the moment. You turn the machine on, and what it does is you have a special kind of radar on the ground, sends out a pulse. This receives that pulse, encodes it, and sends it back again. So when the blip comes up in the man's radar screen, it has that number on it, and so he knows all the relative information about your airplane, rather than just being a blip, which could be anything.
Right.
It can also give out altitude. Some of them, this particular one doesn't, but some of them will also give out altitude, which can catch you out a bit sometimes with that one.
This house is about to go. She's got clothes, she's got clothes, she's got clothes. But now I'm back to your nose. We're dreams in cold storage. We could dance the night away. My confession, lost at anything inside the sound. My confession, this is the sound of fear and I'll fall down. No more pictures. No more pictures. now, now, now. I don't need it. If you're gonna leave, then do it soon. I don't need it. Everything you've ever seen, I've seen before. Leave her to me for now, now, now.
Do you know a lot about the mechanics of the plane?
Not really. I know what I need to look at in here and what I pick up. I'm not particularly mechanically minded, so I find it difficult. So really, over the years, you talk to people and you pick up bit by bit. But I can't claim to have much mechanical knowledge really, other than what I need to know whether it's okay or not.
Tell you what, with this weather, we could have the sunroof off, couldn't we?
You can fly it with a roof open if you like.
Can we?
It's windy though.
Oh, is it?
It's blowing.
Might lose my hat.
Flames may go. Suppose you ever loved at all. I don't need it. But now, 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 I don't need it. But now, 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 I don't suppose you ever let me be. Your fascination leaves me. I don't suppose you ever let me be. Your fascination leaves me. I don't suppose you ever loved at all. If you want it, every little girl is welcome here.
What we're doing here is taking the oil from the lower cylinders. The oil tends to drain through the engine into the lower cylinders.
Yeah.
And if you try to start it like that, you run the risk of blowing the top of the cylinders clean off. So what this does, it draws it back out again and distributes it evenly. First flight of the day, you do this about 9-10 times. Now you 3 or 4 will do it. Because it's been running my day already.
How much time do you spend flying, would you say, in a year?
No more than 100 hours. Really.
Like a target in flesh. One more time for you to call up the dogs. Passengers, order the ticket to burn, burn, burn. You will flood. I'm waiting for you, you know, you know. Oh, a slogan, an old story, and the seas never again. Look at me, I'm shaking, I don't know if I can move. Moonlight, moonlight, I don't need this attention again. I've lost time, oh, I will lose everything. You will flood, but you know where to go, so go, so go, so go. Oh, a slogan, an old story, and the seas never again. Look at me, I'm all shaking, I don't know if I can move.
To operate it,
Right.
this is your ripcord, as you homes it, both hands on there and out.
Forward.
Yeah, that is the limit of my parachuting knowledge. I've never done it, I've just been, it was explained to me how to do it, and it probably lacked something in the telling. But
So when I jump out, okay,
I have to count. I remember.
No, we won't be high enough to any of that business.
Just leap out and pull the thing forward.
The chance of us ever being high enough in this next flight to be able to jump out a remote,
Right.
anyway, it's just a very faint possibility. If you do, you have to open the hood first of all, undo the straps, push out, and just try and get away from that, because that'll do you a mischief.
Push out that way.
It's not so much out as down.
Down,
to
yeah.
come down the side.
You'll tell me to jump out, won't you, if anything happens?
Oh, yeah. Well, if you see me getting out, you can assume that you're to follow. Right?
I don't believe in forgiving. I don't believe I can go on. I won't remember why. I don't believe in long goodbyes. Never look back for me. It's over when everything has gone. When everything has gone. I don't remember the places. I don't remember the feelings. I don't remember your stories. I won't remember you. I don't remember our secrets. My God, just look at me. It's over when everything has gone. When everything has gone.
Right, got to get in now.
Jump in? Okay. On the black stuff.
God. Can
That's
you
non-stick.
hang on the side? I don't think I can move. Right.
Right foot onto there. Now into the aeroplane. You can stand on the seat, it's quite strong enough. You face that way.
That's the other way. There's no steering wheel in the back bit, is there?
Not for this one.
No.
I can put one in.
No, I'll leave it to you.
Steering wheel. Listen to this.
Co-pilot to pilot. How long are we going to be up there?
About 7 minutes. 8 at the most.
Get in quick if I change my mind.
Hopefully you'll love it.
I'm sure I will.
Maybe I should give you a sick bag, just in case. I'm not being horrible, but one person was sitting in the back of it and it was really unpleasant.
Oh, God. No, I've got a hard stomach.
It's not going to look good music box presenter cleans out aeroplane, is it? Because I'm not doing it.
Get in, Gary.
This is love. This is pain disguised as a dream. Memories are guaranteed to break your heart. Look at me. I woke up and found me alone. I wonder if you'll ever think of me. Oh,
start course? No. Sierra Charlie, Duxford.
Gotta go.
Can you do your run-up on the grass? I've got a Corsair coming towards you.
Run-up's complete, now ready for takeoff.
Roger, take off at your discretion. Wind is northwesterly, 10 to 15.
God.
You're right.
No, this will. Oh, thank you.
That's all right.
That was great.
I
mean, just it's okay. Wonderful. And we're going to see more of this in your video as well, aren't we? I can't stop.
Most of what we did just then was in it. Oh yeah, you deserve this.
Look at this. Oh, thank you. Oh, it was brilliant. It was
No sick
absolutely.
feeling?
Sorry?
No sick feeling?
No, no, I got my stomach up there.